Hello, and welcome in, everybody. Welcome in. Thank you for joining me on another wonderful Wednesday. It is the Luke Boyd Show, and I'm your host, not the Luke Boyd, I am Luke Boyd. Thank you, every single one of you guys, for joining me here this afternoon or this evening or wherever you may be watching this show from. Thank you so much. Um, Before we get into anything else from either yesterday or today in terms of mostly covering the NBA for today, just because there's a lot of games that happened last night. There's a lot of games that are coming up later today, so we're going to be covering all of that and maybe a little bit more. I think we're going to cover a little bit of some potential MVP races from the NFL, and I think MVP races also from the NBA, even though it's still very early. But before we get into any of that, if you wouldn't mind, please join me in a prayer. That'd be awesome. In the Father, the Son, Holy Spirit. Amen. Lord God, I'd like to thank you for another wonderful day. Thank you that we made it to the middle of the week and that it is Wednesday. Um, I'd like to ask that you bless and guide not only myself, but those that are watching this from wherever they may be watching it from. I'd like to ask that you um, guide their interactions, guide their thoughts, guide their actions towards not only themselves, but to the people that they meet and around them. Help them to be a blessing to many and a hero to some, and bless and guide each and every single one of them as we pray, Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Thank you so much for those of you that joined me in that. So, without further ado, let's get into all the fun conversations that we're going to have from yesterday. I'm going to start with a highlight that I kind of looked at last night because I was kind of surprised by the score. Just taking a look at just everything real quick, making sure everything is good to go. But we're going to be looking at a final score that came out of Toronto that I was kind of surprised by, especially with Giannis Antetokounmpo playing last night. And I guess there's no surprise then as to why the score or the final score was as it was. The Milwaukee Bucks ended up taking the loss against the what was a 3-4 Toronto Raptors in Toronto, and it was not close. Um, at least at the very end, it wasn't close, but it seemed to be close for at least the first half. But then all of a sudden, Toronto just started to pull away and just outscored the Bucks 55 to 46. It looks like looking at the second half. Looking at the second half score breakdown. But your top scorers coming out of the Milwaukee Bucks obviously was Giannis Antetokounmpo. He only played 24 minutes last night, which might also be a key factor as to why they didn't make this game close. But in those 24 minutes, he ended up with 22 points, 8 boards, 3 assists, 1 block. 9 of 14 from the field, 4 of 6 from the charity stripe. So didn't take a shot from 3, but that's okay because I mean Giannis is kind of a big dude, so he doesn't really take 3-pointers much, if at all. So that's a huge boost to at least try to keep him close in this game. And then not really much other contribution from the starters from um, the from the Milwaukee Bucks, but the top scorer coming off the bench, Kyle Kuzma, ended up with 27 minutes. And in those 27 minutes, ended the night with 18 points, 3 boards, 1 block, 7 of 14 from the field, 2 of 5 from 3, and 2 of 4 from the free throw line. So a huge night from Kyle Kuzma, and even though the Bucks did not get the win, um, but yeah, it was just not a good night for Milwaukee. Even though I thought Milwaukee was going to not walk away with a win, so to speak, but at least try to keep the game close. Um, I might switch. I might switch what I'm wearing here in a second here, ladies and gentlemen. So I'll potentially have to pause the stream for just a minute. Um, but before we, but anyhow, getting into more. I'm making sure that I'm recording right. Okay. Making sure I'm recording for the audio portion. And okay. So everything's good there. Um, but yeah, not really a ton of major contributions. There's not really any double doubles there. But if we look at the Toronto Raptors and who were key contributors, you got two guys that scored 23 points from the Raptors, and that's R.J. Barrett and Scotty Barnes. And yeah, that's going to be your key indicator as to why Toronto just went away with this with a win. So I I probably should have guessed the Raptors were going to try to come back after their first loss in the series, but oh well. Yeah, RJ Barrett ended the night after 31 minutes of play with 23 points, 8 boards, 4 assists, 1 steal, 2 blocks, 6 of 12 from the field, 4 of 8 from 3, 7 of 12 from the free throw line. So a huge night from RJ Barrett. And then Scotty Barnes, after 28 minutes of play, also had 23 points, but had 3 boards, 6 assists, 4 steals, 2 blocks. Was 9 of 16 from the field, 3 of 5 from 3, and 2 of 2 from the charity stripe. So a huge night from Scotty Barnes. Um, and then Emmanuel quickly into the night after 26 minutes of play with 15.6 boards, 7 assists, 1 steal, 5 of 15 from the field, 2 of 7 from 3, 3 of 3 from the charity stripe. So a good night from Emmanuel quickly. And then top scorer coming off the bench from Toronto. I don't know how to say this guy's last name, but Sandro, who wears 54, ended the night after 23 minutes of play with 15 points, 7 assists, or excuse me, not 7 assists, 7 boards, 1 assist, 6 of 12 from the field, 3 of 5 from the 3-point line. Did not do anything from the charity stripe, but still a big night from Sandro coming off the bench. So who knows who their sixth man is going to be? I want to say Grady Dick is probably going to be um, the key, mostly the key contributor coming off the bench. So I'm not saying this is an unexpected night from Sandro, but um, he might not be carrying as many minutes in the future, depending on what the games look like um, from here on out. But anyhow, Toronto ends up getting the win. They move up to 4-4, and the Bucks fall to 5-3. This is probably one of the reasons why I don't have them in the top. Why I didn't put them in the top 5 yesterday, because you never really know with the Bucks. Because I mean, Giannis is enough to win a lot of games, but 9 times out of 10, it's very hard to um, to win games just based off of one star. I mean, you got to have contributions everywhere, and it looks like they didn't have enough contributions to keep this even close in this game. So, um, And they were just also outscored in the first half 60, 70, 73 to like 54, I think is that final score going into half. But yeah, Toronto gets the win at home, 128 to 100 your final score in Scotty Scotia Bank Arena in Toronto. I think that's how you say that. But anyhow, moving on to a game that I knew was going to be close all the way through, or excuse me, I thought it was going to be close all the way through, but wasn't expecting the Sixers to be up by so much for the majority of the game, and then have the Bulls come back and win it. Like that surprised me the most. The Bulls ended up holding the Sixers to only 16 points in the fourth quarter, which is one reason why the Bulls ended up winning this game. This was another set of highlights that I watched last night, and I was just I was more or less kind of amazed at what was happening because the Sixers were just, I mean, they were up by 20 points for the majority of the game. I want to say like at least all three quarters, um, until the fourth, and then the Bulls just started to come back. Um, which, speaking of, your key contributors coming from the 76ers in particular ended up being Tyrese Maxey, your top scorer, who ended the night after 39 minutes of play with 39 points, 5 boards, 5 assists, 1 steal, 3 blocks, 14 of 26 from the field, 6 of 10 from 3, 5 of 5 from the charity stripe. So a huge night from Tyrese Maxey across the board. Not only just in points, but just making a statement in some of the stat lines. Um, just in terms of just getting some stats in those categories. So that's a huge night from Tyrese Maxey. You got Joel Embiid, who also um, was the next top scorer, but after 26 minutes of play, had 20 points with 6 boards, 2 assists, 3 steals, 4 blocks, 7 of 21 from the field, 1 of 6 from three, 5 of 6 from the charity stripe. So big night from Joel Embiid. Not one that we're accustomed to seeing from the start of the season, but a huge lift for sure. Um, but yeah, Joel Embiid just kind of give them a big lift for sure. And then Oubre, Kelly Oubre Jr. ended the night after 33 minutes of play with 18 points, 3 boards, 2 assists, 2 steals, 2 blocks, 7 of 11 from the field, 2 of 4 from 3, 2 of 2 from the charity stripe. So a huge night from Kelly Oubre. And then their rookie VJ Edgecombe had 38 minutes, and after those 38 minutes, had 12 points, 11 boards. So he ended the night with a double double, 4 assists, 2 steals, 4 of 12 from the field, 2 of 3 from 3, and 2 of 2 from the charity stripe. So big night from the rookie as well. Um, and then top scorer coming off the bench ended up being Quentin Grimes, who had 30 points with 10, or excuse me, who had 30 minutes with 10 points, um, 3 boards, 4 assists, 4 steals, 1 block, 4 of 11 from the field, 2 of 3 from the charity stripe. So, um, or a free throw line, if you will. So another big night from Quentin Grimes. It looks like Kyle Lowry did not go onto the court. That was probably an injury decision more than a coach's decision, but um, we'll get to the key contributors from the Chicago Bulls in just 1 second here, ladies and gentlemen. I gotta switch something out real quick. Just trying to stay warm in this room, and then I ended up being too warm. Oh my goodness. All right. Sorry about that. I am back. All right. So where were we? Yes. So getting into the key contributors from the Chicago Bulls last night that ended up helping them notch out that win ended up being Josh Giddey, who after 37 minutes of play ended the night with a triple double. To wow. Um, and in that triple double, he had 29 points, 15 boards, 12 assists, 1 steal, 10 of 19 from the field, 2 of 4 from 3, and 7 of 8 from the free throw line. So a huge, huge night from the star of the Chicago Bulls and Josh Giddey. So that's a big night from him. Also a key contributor that knotted up a double double ended up being Nikola Vucevic, who after 31 minutes of play had 19 points, 10 boards, 1 steal, 1 block, 8 of 14 from the field, 1 of 5 from 3 point land, and 2 of 2 from the free throw line. So a huge night for Vucevic as well as he knotted up the double double. And let's see. And then also Isaac Okoro had a big night as well, who after 33 minutes of play ended the night with 16 points, 2 boards, 5 assists, 2 steals, 1 block, 5 of 8 from the field, 3 of 6 from the 3 point line, and 3 of 4 from the free throw line. So huge night from him as well. And almost all the starters from the Chicago Bulls ended the night with double figures. The only one that didn't was Trey Jones, but he ended the night with 8 points, so pretty close in my opinion. It was just one make away. Um, let's see, and then you get into you get into the top scorer coming off the bench, or top scorers, if you will, coming off the bench from the Chicago Bulls. Jalen Smith ended the night with after 17 minutes of play with 14 points, 4 boards, and nothing the rest of the way in terms of a stat line, but it was 4 of 8 from the field and 3 of 7 from 3, and 3 of 4 for the charity stripe. So he contributed in other ways by trying to get to a free throw line and being aggressive. So um, kudos to Jalen Smith there. And then also Kevin Herter ended the night after 25 minutes of play with 12 points, 5 boards, 2 assists, 1 steal, 2 blocks, 5 of 13 from the field, 2 of 6 from 3. So not a huge accuracy night from him, but he ended up making at least a couple that helped contributed to the Bulls' big winning streak that continues and keeps the Bulls atop the Eastern Conference, um, as they end up getting the win to let's see. So they outscored, I think that's 57 to 36 was how many points that the Sixers got outscored by in the second half. Um, but the Bulls move up to 6-1, and the Sixers fall to 5-2, as 113 to 111 is the final score in the United Center in Chicago from last night. Now moving on to a score that I was not expecting in terms of not only a win but just um, a close score in general, ended up being um, the Pelicans hosting the Hornets in the Smoothie King Center in New Orleans. Um, big night across the board. It looks like the Pelicans didn't even have Zion Williamson. Um, he must be still nursing some injury or something like that, because that's unfortunate. I feel bad for Zion Williamson because my goodness, that was a. I mean, it was a good pickup, and you figured he was gonna, you know, have some fun with his, you know, debuts and stuff like that, but it doesn't seem like Zion Williamson is living up to the hype that people were making him turn out to be when it comes to um, when he was first entering the league, at least. Just injuries have been plaguing him his entire career, unfortunately. But anyhow, we get into the top uh, contributors from the Hornets. You got a couple of guys with double doubles as they ended up falling short. Um, you got Miles Bridges as the top scorer, though, from the starting crew for the Charlotte Hornets, who ended the night after 37 minutes of play with 22 points, 8 boards, 3 assists, 1 steal, 7 of 19 from the field, 3 of 11 from 3, 5 of 7 from the free throw line or charity stripe. So Miles Bridges with a huge night, as he ended up being the top scorer. But a couple of guys with double doubles. Let's get into Canople's stats. He ended the night after 32 minutes of play with 20 points, 12 boards, 2 assists. Nothing from the defensive stat line, but his accuracy ended up contributing 7 of 16 from the field and 3 of 3 from the charity stripe. I'm not really going to say his 3-point stats at the moment because in terms of accuracy, that wasn't entirely great from him, but you know, still a solid night from Canople as he notches up the double double there. And then let's see, and then also another contributor with a double double ended up being Ryan Kalkbrenner. I think that's how you say his Kalkbrenner. I think that's how you say his last name. He ended the night after 30 minutes of play with 10 points, 11 boards, 2 assists, 1 steal, 4 blocks, 4 from the field. So very big night from him, and then 2 of 2 from the charity stripe. So that's a big win for, or should I say, a big positive coming out of this game for the Hornets. Got a couple of guys that ended up notching some double doubles, but ultimately ended up falling short. Um, And then you got a key guy coming off the bench, was Trey Mann, who after 24 minutes of play ended the night with 18 points, 2 boards, 2 assists, 2 steals, 8 of 13 from the field, 2 of 6 from 3. So a huge night um, from at least Trey Mann anyway. Um, and then I don't think we're going to need to get into Colin Sexton's stat line because he contributed, but wasn't one of the top contributors of the night. But anyhow, and then you get into the Pelicans, who, um, wow, Kayvon Looney didn't even score a point, but he contributed in other ways. That's crazy. Um, but anyhow, your top scorer from the New Orleans Pelicans ended up being Trey Murphy, who at the end of the night, after 37 minutes of play with 21 points, 3 boards, 3 assists, 1 steal, 1 block, 7 of 16 from the field, 5 of 10 from the 3-point line, and 2 of 2 from the charity stripe. So a good night from Trey Murphy. And then and then the rest of the starters ended up with 11 points. Herbert Jones, Jordan Poole, Jeremiah Fears. Um, and then your top scorer coming off the bench, Jose Alvarado, ended the night with, after 31 minutes of play, with 18 points, 3 boards, 6 assists, 2 steals, 7 of 11 from the field, 4 of 7 from 3. So a huge boost coming off the bench from Alvarado. And his plus minus differential was 21. That's insane. How? Oh, it's a minus 22. Oh, I was gonna say, how is that a plus 22 when he didn't even score any points? Anyhow, I mean, obviously the bench are probably gonna have very good plus and minuses, but anyhow, and then I think that is it. Uh, oh my goodness, I mean, it was. I wouldn't even say. Well, okay, The Pelicans did hold the Hornets only to 19 points in the fourth quarter, so that's huge in terms of wanting to seal the deal. And in terms of winning the game. Um, what's the 55, 55, 53 was the score differential in the second half, and then 59-61 was the score differential at halftime. But anyhow, the New Orleans Pelicans find their first win of the season as they move up to 1-6, and then the Charlotte Hornets end up falling to 3-5. So huge, huge night as the Pelicans. As far as I was concerned, I was not expecting them to get their first win from the Hornets, but they end up getting their first win of the season. And I know it's still early, but I have a feeling after this, there's probably going to be a couple of positives coming into this or coming out of this that they're going to try to use to, um, hopefully in their next game, try to, because they play against Dallas later today. So hopefully they can use this win, especially when they're going on the road into Dallas, to um, find a way to get their second and hopefully start moving up the chain and not being the top five worst teams in the NBA to this moment. You know what I mean? So, oh. I could be wrong about what's happening later today. Oh my goodness. All right, so we're going to do a quick rundown of what my predictions are for later today. We got two games going on at ESPN. Um, if you guys haven't already, please go check them out because you got Ernie, you got Shaq, you got Kenny, you got Charles Barkley. It's it's the good old wonderful Inside the NBA that's coming to you guys live later today. So if you guys can catch it, those guys are awesome. They're super funny and have really good breakdowns of the game. So um, if anything, even the key matchups that they have tonight are really good ones to watch because they got Minnesota in New York and then San Antonio going into LA. Um, we'll get a little bit more in-depth breakdown here in a minute, but I have a feeling I'm going to be a little bit wrong on some of these today. But in terms of the predictions that I have, I got the 76ers beating Cleveland. I got Detroit Pistons winning at home against the Jazz. I got the Pacers winning at home against the Brooklyn Nets. I got the Celtics winning at home against the Wizards. The Knicks winning at home against the Timberwolves. Uh, I got Houston taking the win on the road against the Memphis Grizzlies. Dallas winning at home against the Pelicans, though that one might be wrong. I may not be underestimating Miami, but I think that the game where the Nuggets are hosting Miami Heat later tonight, I think it's gonna be close. I don't think it's. Why am I not seeing the comments? What the heck happened here? Anyhow, um, but but yeah, I think it's going to be a close game between the Heat and the Denver Nuggets. We'll get more in depth on this a little bit later, but I think the Nuggets are going to win this game, and then San Antonio going into LA, they're feeling on fire. If Austin Reeves and Luka Doncic don't play tonight, I have a feeling this game is going to be a runaway game for the Spurs. But if both of them play tonight, looked at this game to be close, looked at this game to potentially go into OT, or have some sort of miraculous buzzer beater at the end, either by Austin Reeves or Luka Doncic or someone of that nature. Um, and then also in the later windows, you got OKC tipping off in Portland, and I think their winning streak is going to continue, and I don't think it's going to be stopping anytime soon. I'd be hard pressed to um, I'd be hard pressed to see who's going to figure out a way to get their first win against the Thunder. Like it's probably going to be a while until we see that. And then also tipping off in that window, Golden State versus Sacramento. And yeah, just Sacramento. I think I've been kind of um, I've been wanting to hype up the Kings so much just because of how many good players they have in their squad. Like, but I mean, I think this one is gonna also be a little bit closer than I think it's gonna be. But I think the Warriors are gonna notch the win in Sacramento against the Kings. But let's get a little bit more into depth here. First game's tipping off. We got Utah going into Detroit and the 76ers going into Cleveland. We got let's see, we got some let's get the depth chart and some lineups going on here. Um, Potential lineups for the Sixers, you got Tyrese Maxey at the point, VJ Edgecombe at the 2, Kelly Oubre at the 3, and it looks like Paul George and Joel Embiid are out. Let me see where their injuries are real quick. It looks like that's so stupid. That is so stupid. Joel Embiid is out resting. Don't get me started on this. Don't get me started on this. I'm not getting into depth on this because my goodness, this is ridiculous in my opinion. But anyhow, I digress. Who else did they say was out? Paul George. Paul George is out with a knee injury. I mean, at least this is something I can stand behind because it's like, okay, he's actually out with an injury. But Jared McCain out for rest and Joel Embiid out for rest. It's like I'm I'm baffled. I'm baffled. It just makes no sense. Freaking play. If you don't have an injury, freaking play. Like, golly. Just, come on. Like, I don't. I mean, I get it. Joel Embiid's been in the league for a really long time and has had injuries and stuff like that, but I don't know. I feel like if you rest him too much, he ends up continuing to get on his injury riddled season and stuff like that. So, and then potentially getting into the starters or potential starters for Cleveland. Because Joel Embiid is out, I think that kind of already settles that. I think I might have lost that pick um, in terms of picking the Sixers to beat the Cavaliers, but we'll see. Maybe somebody new will step up and uh, show out for the Sixers to keep their hot start to the season going. Um, but yeah, for the potential starters for the Cleveland Cavaliers, you got potentially Lonzo Ball, Donovan Mitchell, DeAndre Hunter is either day to day or he's going to be in. If not, it's going to be Jalen Tyson probably at the 3, Evan Mobley at the 4, Jared Allen potentially at the 5. If not him, it's going to be probably Larry Nance Jr. or Dean Wade. But I would be willing to bet you it's probably going to be Larry Nance Jr. at the 5 if Jared Allen doesn't start. Um, but this is going to be tipping off. This game's going to be tipping off in the Rocket Arena in Cleveland. Um, I still think Tyrese Maxey is still going to be finding a way to keep the Sixers in this game. Um, but if I were to make a bet right now, I would say that my original prediction of the Sixers winning this game is probably not going to um, come to fruition. Um, just because you got pretty key guys out that, in my personal opinion, should be playing. But I digress. Anyhow, moving on to one of the later games, you got the first game that's going to be tipping off on ESPN. The Knicks hosting the Timberwolves. This is one of a one of a 2-game series play, and it looks like you got a couple of um, game time decisions in terms of Anthony Edwards and Carl Anthony Towns. So let me just look into this real quick. Um, let's see. It says that he's out. Is he actually out, or is this a game time decision still? No, so he's probable. He's probable for tonight. Okay. So, let's see. Oh, if Anthony Edwards plays, this game is going to be close, I think. I mean, I really hope that it's going to be. I really hope that Anthony Edwards is a good to go. Um, because especially since it's in Madison Square Garden in New York, and it's on it. Well, I mean, and it's. I wouldn't really say it's a huge. Well, because it's interconference, or I want to say it's interconference, right? It's an interconference matchup, right? No, it's an interleague matchup. Yeah, it's an interleague matchup. Um, but anyhow, so yeah, so you got Anthony Edwards potentially not going to be playing tonight, but who knows? I really hope that he does, just because I think that will give the Timberwolves a little bit of a boost that they need to try to keep this game really close. Because if he doesn't play, I don't think Julius Randle and the crew are going to be able to handle Jalen Brunson and the Knicks. Because the potential starters for tonight, you got for the visiting Timberwolves, you got Dante DiVincenzo. If Anthony Edwards isn't in, it's either going to be it's probably going to be Jalen Clark at the 2, James McDaniels at the 3, Julius Randle at the 4, and Rudy Gobert at the 5. So you got key guys for the Timberwolves that are going to make really good contributions, but I don't think it's going to be enough to beat the stars from the New York Knicks, especially since their starting crew is going to be consisting potentially of Jalen Brunson at the point, Mikal Bridges at the 2, OG Anunoby at the 3. If Karl Anthony Towns doesn't play tonight, it's going to be probably Josh Hart at the 4, and then Mitchell Robinson at the 5. But even still, expect all 5 starters of the Knicks to, if not be in double figures in terms of points, um, at least be contributing in key ways on both sides of the court, um, to make it tough on the Timberwolves to try to notch a win in Madison Square Garden, especially. Um, but um, whether or not the I think how do I want to put this? Whether or not the Wolves or the Knicks win or lose here, I don't think it's going to be a huge defining moment for either of these teams, but it could be a little bit of a boost, at least for the Timberwolves, because they've been kind of having a um, up and down start to the season, especially since Anthony Edwards has already had to miss a few games with an injury. So hopefully, even though he might not be 100% coming into tonight, he's, you know, basically on the upswing. So hopefully with Anthony Edwards coming back here, if not this game, it's going to be the following game. Hopefully they can um, uh, find a way to notch some more wins in the books for the Timberwolves, excuse me. But I don't think that's going to be happening tonight. Um, but we'll see. Um, but yeah, that's going to be tipping off right around 4:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. So it's going to be a fun night in Madison Square Garden, I think. Um, so that's going to be a key one to watch. Also, um, I think another key one to watch is going to be the Pelicans going into Dallas. Um, mainly just because the Pelicans found a way to find their first win of the season and looking to build off of that into Dallas. Um, I think there's still going to be some key guys out for the Pelicans, but hopefully they can find a way, even with Zion Williamson out. Um, it looks like Zion Williamson is out with a with a strained left hamstring, so he won't be in tonight. Jordan Poole is questionable for tonight's game, and it looks like he is questionable with a knee injury. Um, Yves Missy looks like won't play tonight. He's out with an illness. And then DeJounte Murray uh, out with an Achilles injury. So that's a big loss because he's probably gonna be out for the entire season at this point then. And then let's see, no new update from Kyrie Irving, but you got your injuries from the Dallas Mavericks as it looks like Dante Exum and Derek Lively are both out tonight with knee injuries, and then you got Anthony Davis out with a calf injury. Their returns probably won't be what looks like it's projected to be. What is that? Friday the 7th? Is that correct? Yeah, Friday the 7th. Um, so that's gonna be key losses for the Dallas Mavericks, but um, I want to say that's probably not going to be enough. I'm kind of pulling for the Pelicans to find their second win of the season here, especially since they don't have their um, key uh, key starters at least for the Mavericks. But your potential starters coming into this game for tonight, coming from the Pelicans, you got Jeremiah Fears, Trey Murphy the third at the 2, Herbert Jones at the 3, Derek Queen at the 4, and then Kayvon Looney at the 5. So there's your starting 5 from the Pelicans tonight, and I think I'm hoping to see some key contributions from Kayvon Looney, but if he's as good as a Pelican as he was a Golden State Warrior, he's probably not going to perform as well. But I mean, in terms of points anyway, he's probably going to get some stats across the board, but not in the usual um, big man way. I guess if you want to, so to speak. So, um, hmm, wonder why that's not working too well. Okay, well, oh well. Let's see. And then you got your Dallas Mavericks starters coming into tonight as they host the Pelicans. You got Cooper Flag at the point, Klay Thompson at the 2, PJ Washington at the 3, Najee Marshall at the 4, and Daniel Gafford at the 5. Um, just looking, just by looking at their depth chart here, that's their potential starters for tonight. I could be right, I could be wrong. So if I am wrong, um, they must have switched something last minute, or certain timelines made it so that certain players are actually a good to go for tonight's game. So I would say I think this game's gonna stay close. I think the Dallas Mavericks are gonna win, but I'm kind of pulling for the Pelicans to try to get their second win of the season, um, and try to get out of the slump that they've been playing in for the past few games to start the season. Um, but yeah. Anyhow, another game that isn't going to be live on ESPN, but still going to be live on FanDuel. Um, you got the Denver Nuggets hosting the Miami Heat, and like I was kind of saying earlier, I think this game is going to be close. I don't think I'm underestimating the Heat by any means by saying that this game is going to be close, but I think with the crew that's going to be um, playing tonight in Ball Arena in Denver, Colorado. It's gonna be tough for the Heat to notch a win on the road in Denver, um, especially when you have the starters for the Nuggets being potentially Jamal Murray at the point, Christian Braun at the two, Cameron Johnson at the three, Aaron Gordon at the four, and Nikola Jokic at the five. So I'd be pretty hard pressed to see that Nikola Jokic doesn't notch up a triple double tonight. Not because it's not because it's the Miami Heat and it's an easy team to get a triple double for, but like it's one of those things where you know that this team that they're going to be playing is going to be good, so you got to be on your A game if you want to try to win, especially at home against a Miami Heat team that is, um, I mean, regardless of who is on that squad, they are relentless and will find ways to win, um, in any way possible. So you can't sleep. You can't sleep on the Miami Heat like ever. Um, Eric Spoelstra uh, has and continues to have a very solid squad, coming into the season. So as we kind of look at the Heat starters coming into tonight, as they head into Ball Arena in Denver, Colorado, you got Davian Mitchell at the point, Norman Powell at the two, Pelle Larson at the three, Andrew Wiggins at the four, and Bam Adebayo at the five. Look to look to Bam Adebayo and Kellel Ward to still have a huge, huge night, especially from both of those guys. So, um, anyhow, this, um, yeah, it's gonna be a big. I think it's gonna be a big night from both those guys. So, um, uh, yeah, and like I was saying earlier, I don't think that the Denver Nuggets are, I don't think they're gonna run away with a victory on this one, but um, I would say this game's gonna be close all the way through. Um, I think even from the opening tip, it's going to stay close. So, um, yeah, with that in mind, we're getting close to the 1 hour mark. So I do have to kind of get a spiel out for you guys real quick. So for those of you that don't know, this is going to be multicasted. And well, this is being multicasted not only to, um, the streaming platforms that you're watching on, but it's on X, it's on Rumble, it's on YouTube, it's on Twitch, it's on Kick. I just added it to Kick today actually, so, there's that. But I'm also, um, hopefully adding, TikTok here, hopefully pretty soon. So we'll see. But if you aren't on Rumble already, go over to Rumble, download the Rumble app. You can, um, download it to your phone, your tablet, your any streaming devices that you have. Um, you get myself, you get everybody, that is on Rumble. You got, Steven Crowder, you got Vince, you got Russell Brand, you got Tim Cass, you got Dr. Disrespect, a plethora of other big names, um, that I know I'm missing off the top of my head because I'm still I'm still getting a little bit new to this whole spiel, so, um, I could be missing a ton of big names that are on Rumble right now. So I do apologize if I am missing your guys' names. Um, but anyhow, um, go on over to Rumble. That's where I'll may that's where I'm mostly going to be like looking at the chat for the most of it as well. So if I do miss your chats on the other, platforms, I apologize. I mean, I'm going to try to get to them at the end of the shows as well, but, um, just keep that in mind. It's multicasted to so many different platforms right now that, and I'm kind of, you know, uh, I guess a one man show right now in terms of making sure that I keep up to date with everything. So really appreciate those of you guys that have been watching. If you are also on any of those platforms and haven't followed me yet, go down and hit that follow button or the subscribe button. That way you can get notified of when I'm live on all the platforms that you're watching me on. Um, that way you never miss a second of this show, because it's going to be all coverage of, at least for right now, it's going to be all coverage of sports. I mean, I tried to do sports and a little bit of politics here and there, but with the government shutdown and stuff like that, it's kind of hard to really kind of cover it per se. And I don't really want to give you guys some incorrect information, just because there's so much information that is out there that I don't have 100% confidence in what is actually um, fact. So I want to make sure that I give myself enough time to do enough research to be giving you guys 100% factual information. So um, anyhow, that um, I think that's it for that. Let me just double check a couple different things real quick before I get into this next game, because this next game's going to be key to figuring out. Yeah, this next game is going to be key. So give me just 1 second, ladies and gentlemen. Here, I'm just gonna check one other thing real quick. Okay. All right. Moving on to the later window of the games that are happening later tonight. Um, these next 3 games are all going to be tipping off at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. No, 10 o'clock Eastern Time. So these are going to be later games that may make it into tomorrow morning. So anyhow, we're going to be getting into the second game of the ESPN doubleheader in San Antonio. Spurs going into the Los Angeles Lakers, Crypto.com Arena in LA. Um, big matchup. I want to say, okay, so it looks like Austin Reeves is going to be out, but um, you got Austin Reeves is out, and I don't see Luka Doncic on this, so it looks like he's going to be in. And Austin Reeves is out with a groin injury, will not play tonight against the Spurs. Maxi Kleber is out with an oblique injury. Jackson Hayes is out, is probable to play in tonight's game with an ankle injury. So key injuries from the Lakers, and then also for the Spurs, if I can find them real quick, you got Sochan out, you got Kelly Olynyk out, you got Lindy Waters out, you got Luke Cornett out, and De'Aaron Fox out. So, you got key, huge guys out for the San Antonio Spurs. But I think with that, we've expect a big night from Luka Doncic and Victor Wembanyama um, as we kind of get into the potential starters from tonight, coming out of the Los Angeles Lakers, who are hosting. I would say Luka Doncic at the point, Jake LaRavia at the 2, Marcus Smart at the 3, Rui Hachimura at the 4, and DeAndre Ayton at the 5. So I think we're inching a little bit closer to LeBron James's debut here, because I think either that or there's going to be some key news coming out of the Los Angeles Lakers and a trade or something from the Lakers to try to basically make this this is Luka Doncic's team now, if they haven't really basically stated that already. But again, I would think there's going to be a big night from Luka Doncic. I think there's going to be a big night from Marcus Smart. Look to DeAndre Ayton to probably make an impact on the boards and on the defensive end in terms of blocks. So Um, if he continues to play as well as he did while he was on the Phoenix Suns, look to DeAndre Ayton to probably have another big night as well. Um, as we look to the visiting Spurs, um, your potential starters coming into this game are, I would say, Jordan McLaughlin at the 1, Stephon Castle at the 2, Devin Vassell at the 3, Harrison Barnes at the 4, and Victor Wembanyama at the 5. I would say big nights are probably coming for Victor Wembanyama and Stephon Castle. If not, I would expect probably a big night from Harrison Barnes. Um, big guys coming off the bench. I would say probably Bismack Biombo is probably going to have a good night. Same with Keldon Johnson, especially since he's got an opportunity to play at two different positions. So um, I would I would say Keldon Johnson or Bismack Biombo, um, having some big nights from both of those guys. Uh, but in the end, I mean, I'm kind of rooting for the Spurs in this one just because I think there's more key starters out, and I mean there's key starters out from both squads for sure, but um, but I think there's more key starters out from the Spurs that I think there might be a little bit more of an edge to the Lakers, especially since they're at home. But um, I I don't know. It remains to be seen. We'll see what happens, and hopefully hopefully it's going to be a huge night from both squads to try to make this game close. Do I expect it to be close? Uh, kind of, especially since the San Antonio Spurs are coming in pretty hot. Same with the Lakers. This could be a defining game moment for the Lakers in terms of um, yeah, not only to see who is probably going to take the number 2 spot in conference, but you know, just later on in the season who could potentially stay in that number 2 spot come playoff time. Still early, obviously, but um, yeah, this one is probably going to go down to the wire, if not head into overtime with how close I think this game is going to be. So um, this this could be a big night for um, this could be a big night for both teams in terms of who's going to notch up the win, as both these teams are top of their divisions as well. So um, also tipping off at the same time is going to be the Thunder going into Portland. Um, Once again, I was kind of talking about this a little bit earlier, but Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is still having himself a beginning of the year, um, kind of working off of his MVP caliber season last season. Um, this is going to be in the Moda Center in Portland, um, and I think their hot streak is going to continue. I don't think that's and yeah, like I was saying a little bit earlier, I don't think it's going to be stopping anytime soon. But yeah, um, look to the Thunder to kind of run away with this victory, um, and yeah, I don't really think there's really much else to say about this game other than it's I'd be I'd be I'd be really surprised if Portland ends up coming back. Um, Wait a minute. Oh, it's the Golden One Center. Okay, I was like, what? Anyhow, um, I'm looking at my other screen and I'm getting confused. Anyhow, um, moving on to another game that's also going to be tipping off at the same time as the other two that I was talking about earlier with the Lakers and the Spurs and the Thunder and the Trailblazers, as the Kings are going to be hosting the Golden State Warriors in Golden One Center in Sacramento. Um, let's see. You got Jimmy Butler, who's a game time decision, and Al Horford is also a game time decision. So potential starters coming in to tonight. I'm thinking this game is also going to be close, just because I think the Kings are going to want to try to find a way to notch a victory at home. But I would say, oh, don't tell me he's actually out. Don't tell me he's actually out. Are you serious right now? Oh, he's out with an illness. Oh no! Darn it! All right, well maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the Kings are gonna find a win tonight. Man. All right, so in terms of injuries, it looks like there's in terms of the starters for um, Golden State Warriors, it's either going to be Brandon Pajemski at the one or Gary Payton the second at the one. If Brandon Pajemski is not a good to go, um, if not, Jimmy Butler is going to be Buddy Hield at the two, Jonathan Kuminga at the three, Draymond Green. If not Draymond Green, Al Horford at the four. If not Al Horford, probably Gui Santos. Um, and Quinn Post at the five. So um, without Stephen Curry, this one's going to be a tough one to see who is actually going to step up and um, be that filler for Stephen Curry. Because golly, he very easily gets you 20 points, and with him not being in the lineup, there's 20 points for you right there. Like my goodness. Um, but anyhow, uh, yeah, this is going to be a rough night for the Warriors. I think this one is going to go in favor of the Kings. I think, but man, dang it! I think I'm getting this wrong, but oh well. And then you're looking at the Kings starters for tonight. You got Dennis Schroeder looks like at the point, Russell Westbrook at the two, with Zach LaVine either a game time decision or out. You got Nick Clifford at the three, DeMar DeRozan at the four, and if not, Domantas Sabonis is probably going to be Drew Eubanks at the five. So, um, yeah, I think this is going to be tough, dude. This is going to be tough because I don't know. I don't know who's going to actually take the win in this one because I thought for sure that Stephen Curry was going to be in, but I didn't look at the injuries before making my predictions last night. So I want to say, yeah, I want to say that there's too many key players that are going to be playing for the Kings to um, make it tough for the Warriors to try to win on the road, especially without Curry. But I mean, who knows? Maybe Russell Westbrook doesn't play as well, and you know, um, Malik Monk might have himself a night, but the Golden State Warriors might have somebody, somebody else that's like next man up mentality in terms of like they step up and they show out big time. Um, but we'll see. Because yeah, that's tough. That's tough. I think that's gonna be my other loss tonight is the Kings beating the Warriors. I think that's probably gonna be my other loss. What was the other ones that I had? Um, the Denver Nuggets and Miami Heat could go either way. So I mean, if I do lose that one, that's in my opinion that's no biggie. Um, Same with the Spurs and the Lakers. It could really go either way. So anyhow, that is the breakdown from tonight's games. Continuing with the um, continuing with the topic of the NBA, though, we're going to try to look in on some key some key players that are wanting to make a name for themselves in terms of the early going for the season, but also a potential look into who's wanting to try to make those strides and make those edges in terms of wanting to crown themselves the MVP of the season. I know it's still only we're only still about like not even 10 games into a very long 82 game season, but I would hedge my bets um, right now and say that there's some usual suspects at the top here. Um, you got Tyrese Maxey of the 76ers, who's been balling out for the Sixers, even though Joel Embiid and a couple of players have been out for the Sixers. I mean, Tyrese Maxey has been showing up and showing out. I think he's got a chip on his shoulder uh, starting this season because not only him but the Sixers as a whole kind of fell short of their goal last year, especially with key injuries making it so that their season ended up falling short in the playoffs. But um, I think I think we're going to be talking a lot about Tyrese Maxey for a lot of the rest of the season. Um, Same with Shea Gilgeous-Alexander and him leading the Thunder. Like I think their winning streak is still going to continue. There's not a lot of evidence, in my opinion, that's going to sway a lot of the decisions in terms of be kind of predicting in favor of another team unless they have like the stars, unless there's enough stars out for the Thunder and enough stars out or in for the opposing team. Um, then I would say, yeah, maybe the Thunder aren't going to win this game. But in terms of all of that, like he's going to Shea Gilgeous-Alexander is continuing to lead his team to wins, and the average points per game is really showing up and showing out. So big big night or big nights coming up for the Thunder, I think, and good days coming ahead, especially since Shea Gilgeous-Alexander um, is a key guy, I think. And then obviously Giannis Antetokounmpo still balling out for the Bucks, even though they may not have been winning as many games. Um, Especially uh, they're still top five in the conference. So um, big contributions, big notices from Giannis Antetokounmpo. I'm kind of mixing up my words at the moment, ladies and gentlemen, so I apologize. But look to him to still be um, atop of the MVP race um, in the conversation or MVP conversation coming into the remainder of the season. And then you got a couple of surprise players coming into the season that have been playing very well. Lauri Markkanen had a huge, had like a 51 piece one night or something like that. Not to say that that's the only contributions. I mean, he topped it off with like a 33-point game the very next night or something like that. So Larry Markkinen is also making a case for himself very early on to be a part of the MVP conversation. Still early, obviously, but um, keep an eye out for him. Austin Reeves as well. Even though he's been out with a couple of injuries, when he's been in, he's been contributing with a monstrous game for sure. Um, yeah, it's just been a good look for Austin Reeves and the Los Angeles Lakers as of late. Um, a couple, one guy that I haven't really talked about just because I haven't really talked about the Suns all that much, but is it in the top 10 in terms of points per game right now? And I think really making a case in terms of um, wanting to make a case for himself to be a part of the MVP conversations. Devin Booker. Um, I mean, yes, I will say um, points don't say everything, but as I mean, I would say in terms of MVP, it's stats across the board, and on top of those stats across the board, you gotta your team has to also be doing well, right? So, um, yeah, assist leaders in Nikola Jokic, LaMelo Ball, Kate Cunningham, Austin Reeves. So yeah, so that's why Austin Reeves is still at the top of the conversation. Same with Tyrese Maxey. Um, and then I mean Nikola Jokic is still up top in terms of rebounds. Same with Karl Anthony Towns. So this is probably big man bully ball. Um, but I mean points do play a huge factor, but I think it's also the win loss record, what their team did last season compared to this season. Um, so I would be I'd be willing to bet that a lot of talk is going to be about these five guys up here: Tyrese Maxey, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Lauri Markkanen, and Austin Reeves. Um, I mean, yes, like I've been saying throughout this whole thing, still early, but um, this could be a big season for all five of these guys, um, and it could be close, but um, we'll see. Um, that's kind of all I really wanted to say about that discussion there. I don't really have a top five per se. Um, I just it it's I would put a top five together, but I think it's still too early to really say who who's in the top five. I think um, closer to the all once we get closer into All Star voting, let me get into the stats again because I would say once the All Star uh, voting opens up, right now I would say um, in terms of a starting five, can I go Eastern Conference? So yeah, I would definitely say Tyrese Maxey and Giannis Antetokounmpo for sure. Um, in terms of all stars as of right now from the Eastern Conference, still early to tell, but I would probably also vote Kate Cunningham, um, Pascal Siakam, Jalen Brunson, Josh Giddey for sure, um, and probably a couple others from the Eastern Conference as well. And then from the Western Conference, 100% I would say Austin Reeves, Zach LaVine, Lauri Markkanen, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Stephen Curry, or maybe not Steph Curry. Maybe he's not having as much of an all star. Well, I mean, compared to the rest of the league, though, he still is having an all star caliber um, approach, in my opinion. But Victor Wembanyama for sure. Um, maybe Kevin Durant, maybe not. Julius Randle and Kawhi Leonard for sure. Um, I don't know how many votes for each conference that you get because I think this is going to be the first time that I'll be doing it live. So we'll see. Um, actually, have the Pro Bowl votes been open? Maybe we'll do that later. But anyhow, um, but yeah, in terms of some of the all stars that I'm that I would be voting for right now, I would say Tyrese Maxey, Laurie Markkinen, Austin Reeves. Those are at least those are at least the first three that are not usual suspects that I would say those guys need to get those votes, just because um, at least with only a few games to start the season, they've been looking like they're going to be having some huge All Star caliber um, seasons coming out from those guys for sure. Um, haven't really talked a lot about the Brooklyn Nets, but I'd be willing to bet that based off of what his averages are, his stat lines are also pretty good. So um, yeah, Cam Johnson might also be in the conversation for an All Star for his first All Star appearance as well. Um, but we'll see. Um, if any of you guys know when those All Star votes open up, let me know because I wanna try to do it live. Um, in terms, I wonder how many votes or how many times that you can vote because I want to at least make sure that I get them in. But anyhow, um, we're gonna move on into the MVP race for um, for the NFL, and it looks like it looks like at my top five that could be looking at um, that could potentially be looking at uh, getting the MVP for this season might change just a little bit. Where did I? Um, top five NFL QB 2025. NFL announcers tier list. Yeah, no thanks. Not top 100. Here we go. All right, so yeah, whatever. Go away. All right, so we're still going off of what I had last week when I kind of went over um, the MVP slash top five quarterbacks in the NFL. Because to my knowledge, there's not a lot of running backs that are really um, they're really kind of jumping off the charts. Um, I mean, Jonathan Taylor and James Cook are looking to potentially get to over 1,000 yards by the end of this weekend. That's as long as both of them play, and it looks like both of those teams are playing this weekend. Excuse me. I think I think there's a I think the Colts are going to be playing in the Colts and the Falcons are going to be playing in an international stadium. So um, let's see. We got Daniel Jones, Justin Herbert, Patrick Mahomes, and Dak Prescott, and Drake May in the conversation here. Um, Drake May with the top completion percentage. Um, I'm not really going to be talking much about Lamar Jackson, Jordan Love, and Josh Allen. Sam Darnold looks like he wants to be a part of the conversation as well. Jared Goff, and let's see, we got Lamar. I'm not putting Lamar Jackson in that category yet. I think he needs more games first before I put Lamar Jackson in this conversation. So let's see. So we got Josh Allen, Sam Darnold, not Lamar Jackson. I think that's Daniel Jones right there. Uh, Not Trevor Lawrence, not Joe Burrow. Got Patrick Mahomes. Bo Nix is not in this conversation this week. I would say, I mean, in terms of QBR, you really can make your case for Sam Darnold as well. But where's Drake May? Did I already add him into the conversation here? That's Daniel Jones. Where's Drake May? Drake May. That can't be Drake May. That can't be Drake May. What's Drake? Frick. That guy. Where is he? Is he here? Oh, he's right here. There he is. Okay. Let's see. Do I have everybody that I want to talk about? Okay, you know what? Just because of yards, sure. We'll add Justin Herbert. That's fine. So let's see. A couple of things with this. As we kind of get started in on this, its completion percentage, is passing yards, it's QBR rating, it's the way that your team has been playing, it's how many games that the quarterback has played. I would say the only reason that I'm holding back on even talking about Lamar Jackson is just because he's had an injury take him out, so it's been a little bit since he's played. I'm not saying he doesn't have that, I guess it factor, if you will, but I would say this is always tough because I want to say that the Colts, or excuse me, Daniel Jones and the Colts have been having themselves a fantastic season. Just to put that into perspective, though, just because, I mean, I don't like. I mean, I like the fact that Patrick Mahomes is showing up in terms of yards, but in terms of the way that their team has been playing as a whole this season, I don't really consider this being an MVP caliber season from Patrick Mahomes. If anything, gosh, I gotta take a look. I gotta take a look at everything because, um, yeah, Josh Allen's completion percentage is pretty high, but his QBR rating is, no, that's rushing stats. His QBR rating is, where is he? Is 11th. He's 11th in QBR rating across the league. So I mean, but you could also make the case that if I'm just going off of QBR rating, that Sam Darnold should be at number one. But that isn't what I'm going off here. This is a tough one because I know there's going to be people pissed off about what I say here, and I think the Colts just came off of a loss too, didn't they? Yeah, they lost to the Steelers. So I mean, if anything, I don't think Daniel Jones falls off too much. I think if anything, I think Daniel Jones is still in the top five, even though they lost to the Steelers this past weekend. If anything, this might be a hard take, but I would say Drake May gets the number one spot in my opinion. Um, let's say number one. And then we'll move all these guys. Uh, yeah, number one, number two, number three, and then we'll add 4 and 5 here in a minute. But I have a feeling it's either going to be between these two in terms of number two. Um, yeah, Sam Darnold is seventh in passing yards. His completion percentage is at sixth or seventh place since, and then he's second in QBR rating, and his team is playing very well. Um, the only thing that's holding me back with Dak Prescott at the moment is the fact that just the Cowboys just have not been winning games when they need to. Because if anything, in terms of all these stats here, you still got Daniel Jones up in the top 10 in completion percentage. You got Dak Prescott up there as well. Um, but taking a look at all of this and taking everything into perspective, especially since um, including their win to loss record, I would. This is going to be a little bit rough, but I would say I would put Sam Darnold at number two, Dak Prescott at three, because I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'm being a little bit biased. But taking everything at face value, taking everything into account in terms of QBR, completion percentage, and how many yards, because I'm not trying to base it just off of one stat line, because just looking at one stat line doesn't contribute to the win loss record. It can make a big impact, but it doesn't, because Patrick Mahomes has been throwing for 2,300 yards, but their team is, in terms of their record, it's not showing up here. But if you look at the standings, their record is 5-4. But then you also look at Justin Herbert. We're not really talking about him because their team is 6-3. Like it's, I mean, it's a good win percentage. Don't get me wrong, but in terms of the other stats, like his like Justin Herbert's completion percentage isn't that high. He's 14th in completion percentage according to what I'm looking at right now. Um, 8th in QBR rating, so I mean that boosts him up just a little bit in my opinion. But in terms of across the board, I don't think you have a huge season being played right now out of Justin Herbert. And if anything, um, I would say um, I would probably, I mean, really, I would say Patrick Mahomes. I would say is number four. Out of what we have left here with Daniel Jones, Josh Allen, and Justin Herbert, I think I would have to put Patrick Mahomes at four. if not at 5, and then Daniel Jones at 4. Just because the Colts are having themselves a good season. I mean, Daniel Jones' completion percentage is at 8th, but he's number one in completed yards, 7th in QBR rating. The I think I mean, could we bring in Jordan Love into this conversation? Potentially. I mean, you got your honorable mentions of Josh Allen, Justin Herbert, and Jordan Love. So I mean, in my opinion, I think this is a solid top 5 QBs or potential MVP watch right now. Because I'm looking at everything, right? I don't think there's a running back right now that's really having a um, out of this world season right now. Um, Unlike Saquon Barkley was kind of having last year, that in my personal opinion really could have been um, put into that category at least from last season. I think he um, could have been the winner for last year's MVP, but um, seems as though I don't. Yeah, I don't really. I don't really know that we can really say because I mean his Josh Allen's completion percentage is up there, but in terms of the rest of the stat line, he's 15th in completion yards and 11th in QBR rating. So I mean, though he's been playing well and his team has been playing well in terms of other stat lines, it's not really jumping out as he's you know wanting to I guess win well not win games so to speak because their team has been winning games, but in terms of the MVP conversation, he's not. I don't think he's in that conversation in terms of top 5 potential guys to be in that conversation. Um, that's just my opinion anyway. Um, but then you also let's see, because yeah, because I mean Daniel Jones is number one in passing completion or in number one in passing yards, number 8 in completion percentage, 7 in QER rating. So I mean that's in my opinion, and the Colts are winning games. And I think they're still at top of their division, if not top of the conference, or if not, there's a 3-way tie for top of the conference right now. So like that's another reason why I would still keep Daniel Jones. Uh, in my personal opinion, he's had a better season so far than Patrick Mahomes. But then some people would be saying Dak Prescott has been having a better season. Oh my gosh. This is so tough. This is so tough. But I would, in terms of QBs that have been having better play, yeah, I think this is. I moved Dak Prescott down because I completely spaced on the fact that they just lost to the Cardinals on Monday Night Football. And in terms of the season that the Cowboys have been having, yes, Dak Prescott has been throwing for over 2,300 yards. His completion percentage is ninth. He's ninth in completion percentage, and he's third in QBR rating. So, in my opinion, he's in the top 5. But just like, and I think with Dak Prescott and with Patrick Mahomes, the situations are very similar. Their their completion percent, their completion yards are very good. Their completion percentages are good as well. QBR ratings are right in the top 10 for both of them, if I recall correctly. But in terms of the way that their team as a whole has been impacting by their stat line, I can't I can't put either of those two in the top three just because just because of the win loss record from both of those teams. Um, and in a sense, um, yeah, and in a sense, you could say that Sam Darnold and Drake May could also be lower, but with the way that these teams have been playing as of late, with the way that these teams have been playing just in terms of at this point in the season so far, I would say Drake May's at number one, Sam Darnold's at number two, Daniel Jones at number three, and then you could kind of make a case for a bunch of these guys to be at 4 and 5, and I don't think you'd be incorrect with that at all. Um, I just think that you gotta take into account kind of everything and not just one stat line. Which, um, let me take a look. Let me take a look at how my MVP race. Um, uh, yeah, NFL. Let's go to this real quick. Okay, so this was updated 2 days ago. Looks like they have Josh Allen. That's. I mean, I get it. I get it. He just beat the Chiefs. I don't. I don't understand that. I haven't really talked a lot about Matthew Stafford or Baker Mayfield. I really haven't. And with that loss to the Steelers, apparently that completely almost eliminates Daniel Jones. Really? Like what? Like I'm sorry. The way that they're recording this, which I'm gonna drop the website in the description here, but the way that Fox Sports is covering this is a little bit odd in my opinion because I think there's just a little bit of biases, but I don't think Josh Allen has been having an MVP caliber season. That's just me because I'm looking at everything and I'm looking at completion percentage, I'm looking at QBR rating, I'm looking at total yards, I'm looking at the win to loss record. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong. The Buffalo Bills are 6-2, so it's great, and they just beat the Chiefs. Awesome. But I'd be I'd be hard pressed to see why they think that he's at the top. MVPs, or excuse me, Allen as a reigning MVP, and in a matchup between him and his arch rival Patrick Mahomes. With that, Allen is favored to repeat as an MVP once again after being. I don't. Okay, but I don't. I don't understand. If we're just basing it off of one matchup, fine, he was the better quarterback in that matchup. But in terms of the MVP as a whole, in terms of the season as a whole, he hasn't been having that type of season, in my opinion. Like it's if anything, it's between Drake May, Sam Darnold, and Daniel Jones at this point. I mean, yes, you kind of knock him down a little bit just because of the loss to the Steelers, but in terms of the season that the Colts have been having, like you can't completely knock him out of the MVP race, in my opinion, just because of the loss to the Steelers. Like, where's Matthew Stafford? There's Jared Goff. No, that's Matthew Stafford. Where's Jared Goff? There's Jared Goff. Yeah, I haven't really been talking about these guys at all this season, but and I think in terms of order, I don't. There's not really a particular order. I don't. I and you could say that this is hating on Josh Allen, but at this point, the the stat line and the numbers don't really support Josh Allen having an MVP caliber season. Like, I mean, granted, you take Lamar Jackson out because he's played like 3 or 4 games less than all the other quarterbacks in the league. Like, I don't know. It's this the stat line also favors Dak Prescott a little bit too, in my opinion. The but there again, that's why I kind of bumped him and Patrick Mahomes down because both of their teams' seasons haven't really been going. I wouldn't really say as well as they hoped, um, and I think because I think the Cowboys might be on bye this week. Yeah, the Cowboys are on bye this week. Where are they at in the standings? They're 3-5. I mean, with that, you would make a huge case in terms of the argument that Dak Prescott shouldn't even be in the top five and basically be down here because you know his team hasn't been playing all that well, if at all. It's just been inconsistent. So I mean, you could very easily make the case um, to kind of move that around as well. I mean, the Rams have been playing well. I mean, Matthew Stafford. Let's take a look. Completion percentage wise, he's like middle of the pack in completion percentage. His QBR rating is his QBR rating's at 10, and that's still completion percentage. And he doesn't have a lot to show in terms of passing yards either. Where is he in this? Oh, he's top six. I was looking down. I was looking a little bit lower in the list and completely missed him. Um, but yeah, I don't think he's yeah. In terms of the MVP race, I think there's a huge bias towards Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes. I get it. They're very, very good quarterbacks, especially Patrick Mahomes hitting a back to back in Super Bowls, and in terms of the dynasty that he has created for the Chiefs, they're a team to be reckoned with. But with the way that he and his team have been playing this season, I I don't I don't necessarily agree with the fact that they have Patrick Mahomes in this conversation. Same, I would kind of say a little bit of the same of Josh Allen, but more so in terms of I think they have him too high. I think I think Drake May needs to be higher, in my opinion. Um, but again, that kind of remains to be seen. And I would also say that Sam Darnold needs to be higher in their stat line as well. Um, I don't, and I don't count Lamar Jackson out, but as of right now, it's really tough to really say that Lamar Jackson is like in the conversation. Um, just considering the fact that he's once again just hasn't been in for a lot of the games this season due to an injury, but also just hasn't. Um, I mean, their team hasn't really been playing up to the caliber that I think that the Ravens should be playing at and can be playing at. So um, it's unfortunate to see it, but um, yeah. Anyhow, I think that's gonna do it because I'm kind of repeating myself and saying some of the same stuff already. So with that, I think my top five is kind of set. Um, I would say Drake May, then Sam Darnold. You can kind of make a case for Sam Darnold and Daniel Jones. Um, but if I were to vote for an MVP right now, my MVP right now is going to be Drake May, 100%. Because just across the board in terms of his team is winning games, um, his his completion yards is in the top five, his completion percentage is in the top five, and his QBR rating is in the top five. So just top five across the board for him, and it's tough for me to really, kind of put anyone above him at the moment, especially since, I mean, there's not really going to be much to show from him this weekend because, um, well, actually, you know what? They got a good matchup with the, because with Josh Allen, there's not going to be much to show for this weekend against the Dolphins, but um, with Drake May and the Patriots, they're going to be facing the Tampa Bay uh, Buccaneers, so going to be a key matchup to see if Drake May really sets that edge or not. So, especially since they're going to be on the road in Tampa Bay this weekend. So, we'll see what happens. But um, with that, um, I think that's going to do it. Um, Once again, really appreciate every single one of you guys for tuning in. Before we go, or before I send you guys off, I just want to um, finish this off in a prayer, if you guys would like to join me. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Lord God, I'd like to thank you once again for another beautiful start to the middle of the week. I'd like to ask that you bless and guide all of those that are watching. Keep them safe. Have them continue to go through every single day with the interactions with the people that they meet and guide their thoughts, guide their actions, guide their words. And I like to ask for the intercession of the Virgin Mary as we go through the rest of this week, not only myself, but for the viewers that are watching. Um, Bless and guide them as we pray, Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou among women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners, now at the hour of our death. Amen. In the name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Amen. I'm going to take any chats that you guys have for today. Do you guys have any chats at all? No chats at all. Okay. Alrighty then. I think that is going to do it. For those of you, once again, this is a multicast that is multicasting to so many other platforms. The audio version is going to be on Spotify. You got video version on Rumble, Twitch, YouTube, Kick, X, so many other different platforms that are going to be coming soon. I hope I hopefully will be able to start going live on TikTok here pretty soon. Um, but mostly this is just going to be mostly covering sports for the most part. If I do cover um, politics, is going to be something that is major. So um, outside of that, if you are on all of the or if you are on any of the platforms at all and don't want to miss the next stream going live, go down, hit that follow button or hit that subscribe button if you're on YouTube, um, so that you and make sure the notifications are on. That way you never miss a second of me going live. But for those of you that aren't on Rumble, head on over to Rumble because Rumble is the main place that I know that is going to stay live 99.9% of the time. So if you head on over to Rumble, um, it's and download the Rumble app on any of your streaming devices, um, phone, tablet, TV, smart TV. Um, you'll be able to catch me live, see me live everywhere. But that's gonna do it for today. Really appreciate all of you guys that have been watching. You guys are the best. And yeah, I think that's gonna do it. I will see you guys tomorrow. Really appreciate all you guys for watching. This is a Luke Boyd show. Cutting you guys off. I'll see you guys tomorrow.